Hello and welcome to another edition of the RDFNL Netball Show. My name's Yeendy, always excited to be with you. I'm joined by Kim Bailey, the AFL Goldfields Netball Manager. Thanks for joining us for another big week.
Thanks, been away for a little while, had our break and a couple of weeks away. So now we're back and ready to discuss what's shaping up to be a really interesting RDFL netball season.
Yeah, it's shaping up to be outstanding. Looking back to one of the big games from the previous round, and Macedon and Lancefield, two of the contenders, the two league heavyweights, went head to head. How did this one play out, Kim?
Yeah, look, it was an interesting game. Look at Lancefield's lineup. They had their two goalers out, so they had Courtney Annett and Jordan Finesse in. So I think those tall timbers that they missed had a bit of an impact on it, but Macedon are a quality team at the moment. Seem to be taking everyone in their stride, and they have really good structures, and they've got full of some VNL players as well, as is Lancefield. But yeah, they were just too strong for them on the day. So it sort of puts Macedon in a really great spot. They're 4 points clear. Big game coming up this week between Romsey and Rupo, which we'll discuss, but that could put them even further ahead.
And their percentage is quite good as well. They're starting to get that gap, regardless of what happens below them.
Just look at their shooting power. 611 goals for the season, and the closest one to them is Lancefield, and Lancefield didn't have that shooting power that they normally have. So Lancefield, when I saw them the other week, they played Rupert's Wood, and I think they were broken open in the first quarter, and they sort of couldn't recover, but they just missed a bit of drive through the linkage to their goalers, but not sure they were just having an off day. But Rupert's Wood put on some really good defensive pressure and on that particular game. But I just expected a little bit more from that game. I thought they would have been pushed. And then they've come off with a few girls away and got this result. But I'm sure that they'll bounce back. But as I said, Macedon is the powerhouse at the moment. I expected Romsey to be sitting on top at the moment, to tell you the truth. But Macedon have proven me wrong. And I can't wait to see that Macedon-Romsey game coming up next few weeks, I think.
Speaking of Romsey, they were pushed by a gallant Rockbank outfit by 21 goals. They got up in the end, but a good effort there by the Rams to push one of the contenders in 2017.
Yeah, it certainly is. 47-26, really close. Rockbank have had a win this year, so that's fantastic, and the first win they've had for a long time. I think we've spoken about that before. But they're a team that's on the rise. I think they're just finding their feet still, and they will. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see Rockbank win a few more games in the rest of the season.
Building up some great momentum as Rupert's Wood 60 defeating Diggers Rest 45. Great to see two potential finalists go head to head in that one.
Yeah, Diggers are hanging on to that sixth spot by 4 points. A
big gap on the percentage front too.
Yeah, they have. But a couple of Rupert's Wood's more experienced players had great games. Beck Anstey and Prue Stanley just had absolute bottlers. Tash Chocolate played but didn't play a full game. But Diggers, they're most probably just missing one or two players that they really need to make them up to be contenders. And I think they'll stay in the top six, but I think that's about where they'll stay. I expected a little bit more from them too. I thought they would have sat a bit higher on the ladder, and they're a great club, and their netball structure is really good. And I think Amy would be a little bit disappointed where they're sitting on the ladder. But, it's pretty close. Those from third to sixth is really close, so it could go either way. So, it's just the luck on the day and how you perform. And
Melton Central's got a very good win over of Riddle, just to sort of keep them out of the top six.
Yeah. Look, Melton Central's a bit of the quiet achievers, I think. Beck Morabito's having a sensational season, and Vanessa Seddon had a really good game on the weekend too. But Riddle, full of young kids, they are restructured, from last year, where they've been a powerhouse for a long time. And this is what happens in sport. You get your peaks and your troughs, and they keep that group of kids together. They'll be up there in the next season or so. But Central's just chugging along nice and quietly, sort of dipping under the radar, or they're sitting in fifth, 4 points clear of Diggers. So see how they go this week.
And lastly, Wood and Heskett getting their first win of the 2017 season against the Sunbury Kangaroos. Have yet to win a game. A 38-goal margin. Probably expected something that'll be close between the two sides.
Yeah, I did. I know Sunbury have been struggling for some players, but a couple of weeks ago, Sunbury had an absolute cracking game as well against Riddle. But great to see Wood End get the win. And they've got a couple of young girls in there. And I think all the guys and girls up at Wood End will be ecstatic. There's some real superstars in that team that like young Sarah Duff, she's a great player as well. And Mackenzie Brown is another young kid who played under 17 interleague, and she's just killing it as well. So congratulations, Woodend. That's a great performance.
And the highest score of the weekend as well.
Yeah,
outstanding. As we turn our attention around 11 and some crucial games here, we've got Diggers Rest playing host to Macedon. It's first versus 6.
Yeah, interesting game because I think there's 4 girls from Macedon, 4 or 5 girls from Macedon that are playing playing VNL night before against Monash at Lake Wendouree for Sovereigns and for Monash. So a couple of those girls, depending on the game, might be a little bit tired, and whether their coach lets them play full games because of recovery, I don't know. We'll have to ask her.
But it'll be more of a suck and see on the day anyway to see what appears.
From my point of view, if it's a hard game, I don't want to play and then have to back up for training on the Monday and then have another hard game, especially when Sovereigns are pushing finals. So it'll be interesting. They'd have limited load capacity there. But I still think just their strength all over the court's most probably going to be too good for Diggers. I think Tony Lynn's got a Sunday game for Falcons as well, so she might be restricted as well and mightn't be able to play. But I think Macedon will get away with a comfortable win.
Yeah, the Cats will keep marching along. Lanceville versus Riddle, another game that draws a lot of interest because if Riddle lose this one, their finals hopes start to slip further and further away.
Yeah, I think Lancefield will most probably have their goalers back this week, and that will help them out. Again, I think one of their goalers might be playing on Sunday. So Tia will be playing on Sunday for Falcons again, so she mightn't be there. But I think just the youth of Riddle will most probably restrict them a little bit, just experience-wise. I think Lancefield might just have them on the day.
No arguments there. Melton Centrals face a confidence-boosted Woodend Heskett side coming in after their first win of the season, but the Centrals just appear to have too much class on paper.
Yeah, look, as I said, they're just really, really flying under the radar. And we've seen with Centrals before, when people write them off, what year was it? I can't remember. It most probably might be 2014. I could be wrong. But when they got to the grand final, it was 2015, no one thought they were going to win. No one thought they were going to win. Got to the grand final and won. So they're that type of team. They can just pull out these performances, and I think they'll get a comfortable victory though. Well,
you mentioned earlier they do sort of fly under the radar a bit, so no arguments from them there. From Randy and the guys.
That.
Yeah. Last 2 games, they're going to be blockbusters for different reasons. We got Sunbury Kangaroos and Rockbank down the bottom half of the ladder.
Yeah, look, Sunbury Kangaroos have been struggling, but they've brought in some really good players over the last few weeks. Sarah Jane Woodward played and who used to play for Diggers. I'm not sure she's going to play this week, but they've had some good players. But Rockbank, I think, are really on a roll, and they're just starting to, as I said before, just find their feet within this competition. And I think they're going to get their second win for the season. Yeah,
it'll be outstanding. And Sunbury Kangaroos, I'm going to back them to have a much more improved performance than last week.
Yeah, look, I love their attitude, and I was speaking to their coach the other week, and she's got a fantastic attitude, and they just love playing the game, and that's what it's all about. You know, I know they struggle, and I'd love them to get a win, but yeah, their attitude just make up for it too.
It's what netball's all about. Got to get out there and have fun as we go to the last game. It is an absolute blockbuster of the competition in this little batch of the season. We've got Romsey and Rupo.
Yeah. Another interesting game. This game's actually being played at Broadford with the fixture moves, and it's at 2:00 at Broadford. This was a really good game the last time. I did see the last game, and I left about halfway through the third quarter, and it was pretty close. It could have gone either way, but Romsey just worked the ball around and got the win in the end. Again, Romsey's going to have a few players out. A couple of those girls have VNL tonight, actually. So Danny Davidson and Kaylee Armstrong. I'm not sure how they will pull up, whether they're right to go. Again, they'll be on restrictions, and Rupert's Wood most probably will have a couple there. They've got a couple of girls that play for Monash. So they could be in the same boat. Be a really interesting game. I think Romsey is struggling finding the balance in the goal ring at the moment because they've got 3 great goalers to choose from. They've got Millie Brock, Hope Evans and Chelsea Ross. So they just need to find what combination works and stick to it. I think that's what's been hampering them a little bit, where they can't find that set of lineup. Really tough really tough problem to have, isn't it, when you've got three sensational goals like that?
Well, you've said that before, how difficult it can be, but they've got it's about finding that right chemistry, because if they go deep into the finals, only two can play in that role.
Yeah, and if you just look at their percentages, they're pretty good. They're pretty even, and they're just with the shooting power. 10
goals separating the two.
And
defensive wise as well, 10 goals separating that too. So it's amazing.
It is. And look, Amy Starzer and Hayley Matthews has been playing some great netball for Rupert's Wood. They're a young team. I think Don McCormack's done a great job of bringing these kids through and giving them an opportunity, and they're mixed in with the experience of Beck Anstey and Prue Stanley and those types. Ailish McCormack's been playing really well. It'll be a really interesting game. I think it could go either way. You go first, Chris.
I'm going to go Rupo.
Going Rupo. Goodness. All right, you go Rupo, I'll go Romsey.
All right, sounds
There's no real logic to that. That's because I think it's going to be really, really close.
And I guess an explanation for the fixturing as well. The Romsey senior footballers are playing at Broadford, and the Rupert's Wood senior footballers are playing down the road at Wallen.
So just with Broadford and Wallen not having netball teams, we just need to make some little adjustments there to make sure everyone plays on the day.
It's worked out well this week, the odds.
It's been pretty tough. Been pretty tough to do it this year, but we've got there. And
well done to the clubs on understanding the circumstances too.
Yeah, and I think all clubs need to do that. It is unusual circumstances, and hopefully it won't happen again next year. It'll be all rectified. But most of the time the clubs have all been fantastic and made the changes that are necessary. As long as we can work together on it, that's all we can ask. And all the clubs have been great, and Broadford have been fantastic, where they've let the other game be played there most of the time. Because it could have been either Wallen or Broadford, but it just seems to be easier for the girls to travel to Broadford for some reason. So thanks to Jamie and all the girls out at Broadford. We really appreciate your help on this.
Sensational. Well, thanks so much for joining us on this week's edition of the RDFNL Netball Show. Kim, we look forward to catching up with you later on.
No worries, thanks.